I don't really know how to open this. But so I'm just gonna get right into it, and I'm sorry if I might just keep talking and talking. I might not take a break, because if I do, I might start crying, or I don't know. But I felt that I didn't need to make this video, but I wanted to, and I think just for the sake of my sanity as well as this channel, I needed to make this video. It would be really strange if this event occurred and I didn't make the video, and I just kept doing reactions, and I kept acting like, nothing was wrong, or, so I'm making this video for myself, and just to get thoughts out, and to kind of make it real for myself, because I haven't really spoken it aloud to anyone, so I need to do it just to kind of cement it. So earlier this week, on December 18th, 2017, Jonghyun of SHINee, the lead singer of SHINee, was found in his apartment, and he was conscious when they found him in the apartment, but on the way to the hospital, he passed away, and it is believed as of now that he did commit suicide, and it was most likely from inhaling fumes and smoke from burning coal that he had heated in a pan in his rented apartment. I heard this news on Monday morning here in America, and it was like about 8 in the morning, and it had been maybe a couple hours since the news broke. But at that time, people weren't really sure if he was alive or not, and a lot of people were still skeptical. They thought it might be a prank. They thought, oh, this isn't real, or if it is, he's still alive, he's still okay, he's still in the hospital, and, they're working on him. And by the time I found the news, it had been confirmed that he had passed away, and I was just about to go into class. I'm about to start my winter classes, and I saw the news. I was on Instagram, and Jasmine from Kim she had posted a video, and normally any other sorts of information, I think I would have been the exact same as other people. I wouldn't have believed it. I would have been very skeptical, but because it was Jasmine, and because they are, such fans of SHINee, like, that is their ultimate bias group, those are their ultimate biases and everything, I just knew, like, this isn't a joke, this isn't fake. You knew that she looked into it before she posted the video, and so just my heart immediately broke, and I was looking up news, I was looking up information, and I think in the back of my head, as in the back of a lot of our heads, we probably could figure out the cause of death before we even looked it up. It still made me sad that he left like that. To people, to us who have been fans of SHINee for years now and have kept up with all of their music, but also Jonghyun's music and each album that he's come out with, you knew that this was something he was struggling with. You knew that he had had multiple occasions where he had gone through heavy depression, and you could even if you didn't keep up with his personal life, if you listened to a song of his, and if you took the time to read the translation, or if you know Korean and you understood the music, they all weren't always happy songs, especially in the Story Op albums, Story Op 1 and Story Op 2. Those songs were very heavily from him and from his emotions and his personal kind of experiences. I think his more commercialized albums, like Bass and She Is, those are more kind of the SM albums that, like, okay, these are more fun, poppy, whatever. But even so, there were still songs on both of those albums that were like, they weren't always, you know, rainbows and butterflies. Like, the message and the lyrics were very deep and very emotional. And since they come from Jonghyun, these aren't written by SM producers, these aren't written by other people, these are written by Kim Jonghyun himself. So you kind of knew, like, this is coming from a deep place in his heart and in his soul. So Shawols knew that Jonghyun was battling with this, and none of us knew until this happened. I don't think any of us really gave it a lot of thought as to, you know, does SHINee understand what he's going through? Do his friends understand what he's going through? I'm sure his family has asked him, and I'm sure he's told his family before. But just this whole mess and the news that's breaking after, the more I read about it, the more angry I get. Because this was easily preventable, and no one took any steps to help him. He apparently texted or wrote, that's still iffy, but wrote a letter to one of his friends who goes by the stage name of 99, 2 weeks prior to his suicide. And there have been multiple reports now. The news sort of broke yesterday, early in the day, and I wasn't going to make a video on any of this until I knew the facts, until I was sure of what I was going to be talking about. And apparently he gave a letter to that friend about 2 weeks before. And I've only seen one report that says that she took it to his family and showed it to them and, you know, asked them, what should we do? I've only seen one report that says that that's what she did. So I'm not saying that that's fact. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that she didn't do enough. She got this letter, and I don't know, I mean, what her initial reaction to it was. I'm sure she wasn't like, oh ho hum, let me move on with my life. I'm sure she was worried and concerned and asked him about it, and, you know, was like, hey, is everything all right? But when someone sends you their suicide notes, and there was no mistaking in that letter what the letter was. It wasn't like, hey, this could possibly be a birthday letter to my mom, or this is a, you know, I love you friend, you know, and I cherish you letter. This was a, I'm having a hard time in my life. And there are multiple times in the letter where he says, why am I living? I just want to let go. I shouldn't be breathing. Like, very strong messages of self-harm, of suicidal thoughts, and just the fact that she, for, you know, 1 week, 2 weeks, 14 whole days, didn't do anything and didn't take any action, didn't warn anyone, didn't go to him directly and stay with him or make sure, you know, hey, SHINee, Minho Onuki, Taemin, are you watching your boy? Like, the fact that she didn't do that just kills me inside. And not only that, I've seen multiple reports that from the time that Jonghyun sent his goodbye text to his sister, which that's just all kinds of sad. Like, knowing how close they were and how much he loved her and how much she loved him, to get that text would just be so alarming and scary. And from the time he texted his sister and she called authorities and asked them, hey, go check on my brother, like, it apparently took over an hour to get to him, and I'm still fuzzy on the fact. If you know why, please tell me in the comments below, but I'm still fuzzy on whether that was because it was just their incompetence and they were just lazy and they didn't take the call seriously, or if it was because they couldn't find, that like literally couldn't find Jonghyun, because he was not in his regular home. He was in a rented apartment somewhere, you know, away from his actual home. So it might have been just, they just didn't know his location. She told them his apartment and they said he's not here. So just miscommunication. I'm not sure which it was. And it just makes me even more sad that Jonghyun took the time. This was very thought out, because this was not a, hey, let me take this gun I have and just randomly shoot myself in my apartment. You know, I was planning on doing something tomorrow, but life got too rough all of a sudden and I committed suicide. This was a, I know the apartment I'm gonna rent. I know how much money I need for 2 days. I went and bought coal. I bought, you know, the weapon that is going to kill me. He made sure that, like, family, friends, he didn't have anything scheduled for those 2 days. Or if he had canceled them, because no one said anything about, yeah, I was supposed to have lunch with him and he didn't show up. Like, so it was obviously planned out that those would be the 2 days that he would take. And that just makes me, I keep thinking about that, and it just breaks my heart that even through all of that, there was never a moment where someone stopped him. And I'm not blaming anyone in this case, because you know, he most likely did it all in secret. It probably wasn't a big show, so there would have been no way that anyone could have known. Like, he has this coal and he just rented 2 days, and so there just wouldn't have been any way that anyone could have known. But it still makes me sad that there was no one to stop him through all of that, and he still went through with it. And he might have had a moment or two where he hesitated, or he thought, you know, should I go through with this? But here we are, and he went through with it. Right now, on pretty much all my social media, I have just been talking nonstop about Jonghyun. On Twitter, yes, I'm back on Twitter. I've been talking about him, and I've just been basically anything and everything is about Kim Jonghyun. And I don't think I could ever, in this video, in the amount of time that I'm taking for this video, I could never, like, ever sum up my love for Jonghyun. He was not just my bias in SHINee, but my ultimate bias in K-pop, and there just aren't enough words, and there's not enough emotion to really convey how much he meant to me. Jonghyun, just for me, he was so inspirational because he did everything himself. I mean, he composed, he directed, he wrote his own songs, he produced. Everything that he did was him. And so you could never go like, oh, this was written by some SM producer or somebody else. Like, no, it was all him. And just as a creator, as an artist, that's so inspiring to me. And I think the title of his last concert was very fitting, inspiration, and because that's what he is. I mean, he put his all into everything that he did. And it was always, I mean, amazing. It was always beautiful. His videos conveyed his songs so well, and vice versa. Like, I mean, everything that he did just embodied himself, and he put so much of himself into his work, which is extremely hard. I'm not an emotional person, So I can't understand how you can kind of let yourself go and let other people know what you're feeling that easily. And maybe it wasn't easy for him at first, but over time he learned to accept it and embrace it. But I was just, I really love seeing that about Jonghyun. And I hope in the future SHINee isn't seen as sort of that group, you know, oh, there's that group that lost a member, that group, oh, one of their members committed suicide, because whether we like it or not, that's how people kind of identify different bands, especially in K-pop, where death, even though it has happened, it's pretty few and far between. So the fact that this has happened, it's gonna put, you know, a certain it's gonna put a mark on SHINee's reputation, and that makes it sound really bad, like I'm blaming Jonghyun or something, but I'm just stating a fact. Like, there will be future fans from here on out that, you know, discover SHINee years from now, but you know, also kind of know SHINee as, that group that lost their member. Like, that's what happened to Ladies Code. I remember when I first got into K-pop and I heard about the tragedy with Ladies Code and them losing their members, I just always kind of identified them as that girl group that lost members. I had never listened to their music before. I had never heard anything, you know, anything else about them. And by the time I got into K-pop, it had been a year or two since they had passed away. So the impression lasts for a long time. And for people that don't take the time to look into SHINee and their music and what they've done for their fans and everything, they'll just kind of know this band, this group, as, that group. And I hope that people don't look at SHINee that way, because they bring so much joy into people's lives and they've done a lot for their fans. And Jonghyun was so sweet to Shawls and to his friends, to his family. I mean, he was just a nice person. And I saw this post online that said, the person that posted it, she commented and said she's so sorry and sad that now people know who Jonghyun is, and now people sort of recognize him because of his suicide, but no one really knows him because of his songs, his work, his friendships, how he lived. And so there's tons of people that might have read this article or heard the news, saw it in passing on Twitter, and they were just kind of like, oh, there's that guy, you know, oh, he committed suicide, that's a bummer, and moved on. And there are going to be so many of those people. So us Shawls, we just have to keep all the good memories alive for Jonghyun, and help people realize, like, he was more than his death. I mean, he was so much more. I know today it's the 21st in Korea. It might already be the 22nd, but today was the final day for his funeral, and I know that they were going to they're going to walk his coffin, walk it to the car, and put him, I don't know where they bury him, because I don't think Korea has like underground burials like, you know, America does. We put them in the ground. But I know that was supposed to happen today, and I wish the members well, and that they're able to help each other and lift each other up and remember again good things about Jonghyun. I know I've read reports, and I know Key is taking this extremely hard, and like I discussed earlier, Minho is he's kind of being the rock right now, which I don't know if that's a shock to you, but it's kind of a shock to me. I thought it'd be the other way around, but I hope Key can make peace with what's happened. Him and Jonghyun had like this such special connection that I don't think any of us can really describe. You know, if someone asks you, you know, oh hey, what's their friendship like? You can't really describe it. Like, it was so unique and so personal between just them two, but it was very unspoken. And so I guess it's really taking its toll on Ki right now. And I can't even imagine how Onu feels as the leader, the oldest of the group. I'm sure he must feel, I mean, just unimaginable pain, but also maybe as if it's his fault, which is definitely not. It's not anyone's fault. And if there is fault, it's definitely not Onu. It's not any of the members. It's not anyone at SM. It's not anyone, you know, that worked with him. So I just hope the members do well, and his family. I can't even imagine what that must feel like to lose your child. And I mean, I'm breaking down here, and I didn't even know, you know, the man personally, but to have your child or your brother just gone, and I don't know what's scarier, Sully getting the text and knowing what he's about to do, or waking up one day and hearing the news from a police officer or a doctor. Like, I just don't know what's worse, but I just feel so bad for his family and his friends, everyone at SM, his friends outside of SM, because I mean, he had so many, and there are so many mourners around the world, but especially in Korea right now, and I appreciate everyone that is going to his funeral, that's for the fans. I appreciate them so much, because like overseas people, we can't do that. So to see other people take the time out of their day and go visit his memorial and, you know, pay respects and everything, it makes me so happy to see that. So, excuse you. I also want to say, please, if you can, if you're on Instagram or Twitter, please take the time and just send a quick little message to Taeyeon, because her letter, I think she wrote it maybe yesterday, her letter to Jonghyun was really, it was very sweet, and it was very personal, but it was also very disturbing. And I think that if anyone needs to be looked after, you know, after the members of SHINee and his family, it's definitely Taeyeon. I mean, he loved Taeyeon like a sister, and she with him like a brother, and she's had her own issues to deal with in her own life, and you know, I mean, we all know that she's gone through hard times with depression, and she's very much like Jonghyun. She puts on a good face, and when she's feeling happy, you know, she feels happy. She's not faking it, and she's not putting on airs or anything, but there are times when she's been down, and she's definitely had a hard time with herself. So please go send her good messages, tell her how much we love her and how much we hope that she gets over this. But yeah, overall, this is just an insane time for SHINee, and for Showels. Like, I don't think I could have ever imagined anything like this happening, and I don't know, like, it's just weird, because if you go back through the history of SHINee, they don't, things like this, I mean, especially deaths, but even small things like, oh, little scandals or controversial, you know, statements or anything. We had our little tiffs earlier this year with Onu, but for the most part, SHINee has been one of like the cleanest, most respectful groups in the business, and I think it's just a shock for all of us, because we've never really had to deal with any small scandal, much less something this monumental and this heartbreaking. So in the comments below, if you need to vent, if you want to talk to me personally, or if you just want to talk to, you know, just some imaginative being. Talk to yourself, talk to Jonghyun, SHINee, whoever. I please encourage that in the comments below. I might not be on social media for the next few days, and if I am, I can guarantee you it's going to be about Jonghyun. So I think just for now, I'm just looking at SHINee, and I'm especially Minho. It's just really impressed me how well he's doing, how well he's taken this, and how he's taken the lead. And like, if Minho can do that, then I think all of us can get through this. And it'll take time. It's not going to be quick. For me especially, I have taken down or covered up the posters and the pictures I have of Jonghyun in my room. And for the next month, I will be wearing black. And I know it sounds silly. It's like, oh, you didn't even know him. Why are you going this hard? But like, again, I told you, I don't even know how much I can describe how much he meant to me. And it's kind of hard because I don't have friends that are really into this. But even people or things that they like, they're very, they're kind of ho-hum about them. You know, they have their favorite artists, but I think if their artist died tomorrow, they get over it after a day or two. This is gonna stay with me for a while, so I'm giving myself a month. And even then it seems so small and insignificant, but that's just what I'm gonna do. And then after a month, it's gonna be time to pick myself back up again, to listen to SHINee again, to, you know, kind of look at the happy memories that Jonghyun gave us. I had to shoot this half. It's obviously different lighting because I couldn't get through that first half. I was, the more I talked about it, I was really breaking down, and that was the first time that I've actually talked about it aloud. So, yeah, so this has just been kind of a weird experience, but very helpful. I encourage you guys to talk out loud. It really does help. Keeping it bottled up, or just even like being on Twitter. You might think oh, I'm helping myself, I'm on Twitter, I'm talking with other Showls, with other K-pop fans, but there's a definite difference saying it out loud and texting it or tweeting it. Like, it gets your emotions out there, and you can finally hear it. You hear the truth and what's really happening for yourself. So I encourage to talk out loud, even if it's in your room, alone, it's outside, you know, whatever. Just talk, because it's very helpful. And I think this was a good experience and a good thing for me to make this video, at least for myself. Thank you guys for watching this so much. I'm sorry if, I don't know, I made you cry or if this triggered you in any way, but I just want you to stay strong and send good messages to people, and just remember Jonghyun in the good light, and SHINee as well. Thank you guys so much.
못해 그 어떤 단어로도 널 표현 못해 터질 것만 같아 그대 눈을 보면 내 사랑 책임져